Hi, I'm Rory Seeger. I'm at the School of Visual Philosophy, and this is our quick tip for today: how to mix plaster without a vacuum. Always add the plaster to the water, and first check to make sure that your plaster doesn't have hydration in it. Make sure that it's nice and powdery. Sift it in gradually. If you wanted your plaster to set up faster, you could use warm water. You can also dissolve salt into the water before you start. If you want your plaster to set up slower, you can add vinegar, or you can add lemon juice or anything acidic into it. You can also use cold water. Another way to make your plaster set up fast is to take old plaster that's already been set and grate it into a powder and add just a pinch or two into the plaster as you mix. Plaster is known as calcium sulfate hemihydrate, which is gypsum, and then baked to become anhydrate without water, which means that when we put it into water, it's going to collect as much water as it can again. When we sift our plaster into the water, we're trying not to create as many bubbles as possible because we don't have a vacuum in this case. And we want to be very careful that we don't add too much plaster. The plaster was only able to absorb as much as water as it can, and if there's anything left over, we can simply pour it off the top. But if we add too much plaster into the water, it will become weak because not all the plaster will be able to pull in the water molecules that it needs. What I'm doing now is watching the peaks dissolve into the water to see how much water to plaster ratio there is. At this point, I'm going to stop and I'm going to let that plaster dissolve into the water, absorbing as much of it as possible. By the time it's finished, there'll probably be a very thin, maybe a 1/16 inch layer of water on top, which I'll pour off, and the plaster will be ready to use.